Good evening, everybody. I am Vibhu Swai from PowerTech Consultant. Today, we'll start our webinar number 23. Let me share my screen with you. So, webinar number 23. In this class, we'll discuss about chapter 2, that is steam systems of book 2, that means energy efficiency in thermal utilities. Now, if you see why steam is used in industries, because steam has a lot of advantage as compared to other heat conveying medium. Therefore, steam is particularly used for heat transfer. It is used for generating power. It is used in process industries like sugar plant, paper, fertilizer, refinery, petrochemicals, chemical, food, synthetic fiber, textiles. So any industry you assume, any particularly any process industries or power generating unit, they utilize steam. Why? Because of these few characteristics of steam, which makes steams very popular and useful for the industries. What are those characteristics then? High specific heat and high latent heat, highest heat transfer coefficient, easy to control and distribute, it is cheap and inert. That means it is chemically does not react, it is cheaply available, raw material is only water, of course DM water, and it is easy to control, distribute. You can have a steam pipeline. You can transfer the steam to any part of the industries, and it has very high temperature coefficients. Due to all this region, steam is very popular and useful for the industries. Now, what is the properties of steams? Suppose water is basically in liquid form, whereas ice is the solid form, and steam is the gaseous forms or the vapor forms of water. Now, if you heat any water at certain pressure, then what will happen? Its temperature will rise. Then after certain times, once its temperature reaches its boiling point, then water will start evaporating. That means water will be converted to steam. Water will change its state or change its stage. So that point is known as saturation. That means the boiling point, after boiling point, once it reaches boiling point, then it starts evaporating. That is known as saturation point. So if heat energy is added to water, its temperature will rise until a value is reached at which the water no longer exists as liquid. This is known as saturation or boiling point. And this evaporation requires relatively large amount of energy. Now, after that, if you increase the steam temperature, it will become superheat. So we'll see what is the steam phase diagram subsequently. Now, to increase the now suppose the water temperature is 25 degrees centigrade and you are applying some certain amount of heat, and due to which its temperature increases to 100 degrees centigrade. That means the heat energy which has been given to water is basically the enthalpy or the heat energy that is known as liquid enthalpy or sensible heat. So one item is liquid enthalpy or sensible heat, which is basically to increase the temperature from certain 15 degree or 20 degree centigrade to 100 degree centigrade till it is in water form or till it is in liquid form. So this is known as liquid enthalpy or sensible heat, and the symbol is HF, unit is kilocalorie per kg. But that means you just see just this example, 1 kg of water, 25 degrees centigrade. So at This 25 degrees centigrade, what is the heat value? Specific heat of water is 1. So heat capacity or heat content will be 1 kg into specific heat into 25 degrees centigrade. So that will be 25 kilocalorie. So if you add another 75 kilocalorie, it will reach to its boiling point, that is 100 degrees centigrade. So this is whole together is known as liquid enthalpy. So 75 is the liquid enthalpy or sensible heat which has been added to water. Now, suppose this water needs to be converted to steam. Then what you have to apply? You have to apply the enthalpy of evaporation or heat content of steam or latent heat. That means you have to apply more heat. That means at that utilizing that heat, water will not be changing its temperature. Water will be converted to steam at same temperature. So the amount of heat required to convert 1 kg of water at 100 degrees centigrade to 1 kg of steam is known as latent heat or heat content of steam. So what is the latent heat of water? It is 540 kilocalorie. That means this quantity of heat is required to change the chemical form from liquid to gaseous state. So amount of heat required to change the substance from liquid form to gaseous form is known as latent heat. It is also known as latent enthalpy of evaporation because after attaining boiling point, it is changing its state from water to liquid gas. That means so boiling point or saturation temperature, it is the temperature at which water boils. Now you know that boiling temperature or boiling point increases with pressure. That means if pressure is high, then boiling temperature or boiling point will be high. Just take an example of pressure cooker. Why pressure cooker cooks early? Because it while covering the pressure cooker, you are increasing the pressure inside. So once you apply heat, because of high pressure, water does not boil. Water is heated up. So water is heated up maybe up to 125 degrees centigrade or 200 degrees centigrade, depending upon the pressure in the pressure cooker. But in case of in normal pot, the water reaches to 100 degrees centigrade, then it starts boiling. Due to which it changes states from water to steam. Due to fact that temperature does not go beyond 100 degrees centigrade, so it takes longer time in a pot, whereas in pressure cooker it takes lesser time. So boiling point increases as pressure increases. Now, if you convert the steam into water, it will give enthalpy of evaporation, that is HFG. That means you can convert a steam, you can condense a steam to water. That means some heat energy you have to take out from the steam. In power plant, when the steam is coming out from the turbine outlet, then you apply cooling tower with the help of in the condenser to cool down the steam. That means you are taking away the heat energy, which is nothing but enthalpy of evaporation or latent heat of steam or outlet steam. So the total heat of dry saturated steam or enthalpy of saturated steam is what? It is a sum of two enthalpy. One is latent heat, another one is HFG or sensible heat. So latent heat or heat of vaporization plus liquid enthalpy is basically the total heat of dry saturated steams. Now, if steam, now you have applied pressure, all the steam has been formed, there is no water inside, then again you are applying temperature or again you are applying heat. Then what will happen? The temperature of steam will increase. The temperature of steam will increase further. It may be 270 or 200 or 150 degrees centigrade. So that is known as superheat. So it is the addition of heat to dry saturated steam without increasing pressure. So without increasing pressure, if you apply certain temperature, the amount of temperature increase will be known as superheat. So sometimes if the steam contains moisture, that means it is a wet steam. That means some water vapor and is also there in the steam. That means the liquid and gaseous both states are present. Then there is known as dryness fractions. So that in that case, total enthalpy will be Hg. Hg is the, remember, is the total enthalpy. It is Hf into x plus Hfg, where x is dryness fractions. Now let us see this example. This boiler operates at a pressure 8 kg per cm square. Saturation temperature is 170 degrees centigrade. That means this is a boiling point temperature. You see, it is not 100 degrees centigrade because pressure is not 1 or it is not atmospheric pressure. It is 8 kg per cm square. So, steam enthalpy of total heat of dry saturated state will be given by what? Now, for this, you have to look into steam table. You have to purchase a steam table and try to learn how to utilize a steam table. Now, if you see steam table, 8 kg pressure at 150 degrees centigrade, you will find that HFG will be 489.46 in kilocalorie per kg. And 170 again will be, HF will be 171.35. This is given in the steam table. So from that, total enthalpy will be 660.81 kilocalorie per kg, just added. Now, suppose this steam contain 4% moisture. So what will happen? The total heat of steam will be given by 171. So what is the dryness fraction here? 4% moisture means almost 96% is the steam. So that means the dryness fraction is 0.96. So 0.96 into this HFG, you will get total heat of steam. Now, if the moisture is there, if the steam is not totally dry, then total enthalpy will be lower as compared to the total dry saturated steam. So whose enthalpy is higher? Dry saturated steam total enthalpy will be higher. This is a very important questions in each exam it comes. So you have to remember this steam phase diagram. Now in the steam phase diagram, in the x-axis, the enthalpy is plotted. In the y-axis, temperature is plotted. And these are constant pressure line. These are constant pressure line. Now, the curve by which we can calculate enthalpy and temperature is known as steam phase diagram. Now, this is from this curve also we can find out total enthalpy. Otherwise, we can also find out total enthalpy from steam table. Now, this steam phase diagram is a relationship between enthalpy and temperature at various pressure. So it is the relationship between enthalpy and temperature at various pressure. Now just take an example of A and B, C, D. We'll study this line. Now here it is subsaturated water. That means here the temperature is it is in water form and it is less than boiling point temperature. So it is in water form. Now if I increase the temperature of water, what will happen? Its temperature will go up. Now suppose at certain pressure, what will happen? It may reach its boiling point because boiling point depends upon the pressure applied. So at this constant pressure line, let us assume that this water starts boiling. So what will happen? Once it boil, it will no more in water condition. It will try to change its stage or phase from B to C. That means this is where the two-phase region is there. That means steam as well as saturated water is there. So this is the two-phase region. This is a single-phase region in which water is there. This is the third-phase region in which only steam is present. Now, wherever saturated water and dry saturated steam meets, this is known as critical point. So this curve is basically the state phase, steam phase diagram. Now what will happen? You have increased the water temperature. Now it has reached B. Then you are increasing the temperature. So the dryness fractions is increasing. In this case, at B, the dryness fraction is 0. At C, the dryness fraction will be 1. So X is the midpoint. At this midpoint, dryness fraction will be 0.5. So depending upon this line, you can calculate what will be the dryness fraction by dividing these two distance. Now, once it reaches C, that means there is no more water is there. It is only steam. After that, if I increase the temperature or if I apply more heat, what will happen? It will, the steam temperature will increase up to D. That means the steam temperature will increase, that this D and CD is basically the superheat steam. So at this region, the steam temperature is beyond 100 degrees centigrade, or it is beyond the boiling point. So this is known as superheat steam. This is known as subsaturated water. And this saturated water, this is a line of saturated water. This is the dry saturated steam. Both meet each other at critical point, and these are constant pressure line. That means if I increase the pressure, what will happen? This temperature of the water will increase further. That means I have to apply more heat to increase the temperature of the water before it start boiling, because you have increased the pressure, so it will boil at this point. Again, this will it will take the path like this and it will become superheat. Now again, if you increase the temperature, what will happen? Again, the boiling point will increase and you require more heat. By doing so, a certain point you will find, this is known as critical point. What will happen? Once you raise or apply that much of heat, then water temperature will reach this point. Then automatically it will become steam. It will not go through a wet two-phase region. Whatever water is given, if the pressure is very high, then all the water will be totally converted to steam without going through two-phase region. So this is known as critical point. So this is all about steam phase diagram. Now let us learn a lot of more about it, what we have discussed right now. Now in this case, AB, water is heated from 0 to degree centigrade to its saturation temperature. Saturation temperature depends upon pressure. Now this is heat content added, is known as liquid enthalpy, that is HF. Now BC is further heat added, that is HFG, as constant pressure. So at constant pressure you are adding, then water it changes its phase from saturated steam but remain at saturated temperature. You see the temperature does not increase because it's the constant pressure. It is only changing its liquid form to gaseous form. Now further C to D, you are applying more heat, then the saturated vapor line, then the steam will be superheated. So the saturated steam enclose the region in which steam and water mixture exists. This is known as wet system or two-phase region. The point at which saturated liquid and saturated vapor line meets is known as critical point. So critical point is the highest temperature at which liquid can exist. What is the critical point parameters? 374.1 degree centigrade and 221.2 bar. So you have to remember this. So critical point parameters. Now, if any water has reached its critical point, what will happen? If you put any water, it will be totally converted to steam. without going through this two-phase region. That means beyond this, the water will be converted to steam at once if high pressure. So this is if the boiler is below critical point, if the temperature, pressure parameter of the boiler is below critical point, it is known as subcritical boiler. If the boiler parameter, that means temperature and pressure, are more above the subcritical critical point, it is known as supercritical boiler. Supercritical boiler is more efficient. Its heat rate is lower. So these are the advantage of supercritical boiler. Now this is the extract from steam table. You can see pressure, this is the temperature. If I know these two parameter for water or for steam, I can find out HF, that is liquid enthalpy, evaporation enthalpy, and total steam enthalpy. Also, I can find out specific volume, that is meter cube per kg. So this is an assignment to all of you. Please purchase a steam table, study it, and find total enthalpy of steam at different pressure and temperature. You can also find out this enthalpy at different pressure and temperature from Google by using steam table, online steam table. But in the examinations, you have to use steam table. So learning steam table is very much essential. Now you also have to know different units, kilocalorie or kg. So MKS or SI units based steam table you have to learn, so that unit will not be difficult for you. Now let us come to steam distributions. How the steam is distributed in the process or in the industries. Steam distribution is basically, it is a link between steam generator, that means where you are generating steam, and the steam user. So one is source and another other are users. So the conveying medium is the steam distributions. So just take an example. This is a boiler steam drum where steam is generated. This is a boiler feed pump, and this is the feed tank, raw water or DM plant feed tank. You are adding makeup water, so you are getting water from here. You are supplying through a feed pump. You are getting steam. The steam energy, now this is the steam distribution system. The high pressure steam goes. Then this is a pan. Then you require condensate. Once and again the steam goes, and there is a process vessel. That means these are the steam use points. These are the process steam is utilized. It might be a paper industry, it might be a sugar industries, or it might be a fertilizer industry. So steam energy or is utilized as a heat. It provides required heat to the process, and you got condensate. So this is the condensate. Space heating system. In case of winter, you require some space to be heated up, so you can also utilize steam. Then you get condensate. Now all this condensate comes back to the feed tank. Again, this condensate is basically water. So again, it is fed back to the boiler for steam generation. Then these are the turbine, and these are the steam trap, so that you can get condensate back. So this whole system is basically known as the steam main pipeline, steam trap, which and the PRDS. So these are known as steam distribution systems. Now condensate has a very small volume as compared to steam. Normally in the steam pipeline, some steam can get condensed, but it has very small volume, but it creates a pressure drop. So if the pressure drop is there, what will happen? uh, the steam will flow, because in one end it has high pressure, in the other end it has low pressure. The steam will flow through the pipes. Now working pressure. The distribution of the steam is influenced by number of factors. So you require high pressure steam to do certain work. But that high pressure steam, if the line is very large or lengthier, then automatically it will be get condensed. The condensate gives rise to pressure drop. So the pressure of steam will drop. Therefore, the steam line has to be very smallest, and you have to see that the steam line does not cover large distance, and the steam generation and diffusers are both are nearer to each other. So the steam pressure depends upon two things: maximum safe working pressure of the boiler and minimum pressure required at the plant. Now, as steam passes through distribution pipe work, it will inevitably lose pressure due to frictional resistance within the pipe work and condensation within the pipe work as heat is transferred to the environment. So because of friction, the pressure get drops. Also condensation within the pipe work as heat is transferred to the environment. Now factors for good steam distribution systems. General layout. So as I told you, shortest possible distance with aesthetic look has to be there. Then steam pipe sizing or design. Now you have to go for good steam pipe, quality pipe, and it has to have good design. Objective of supply steam are correct pressure to the point of view. It follows therefore pressure drop through the distribution system is an important feature, and the velocity of various types of steams are for superheated you require the velocity should be in the range of 50 to 70 meter per second, saturated 30 to 40 meter per second, wet or against 20 to 30 meter per second. So this is the velocity at which the steam should flow. So based on this velocity volume flow, the steam pipe has to be designed accordingly. Now this is the formula. You remember head loss. This HF is not liquid enthalpy, it is head loss to friction. What is the formula? 4F capital L U square 2GT. In this case, F is friction factor, dimensionless. It will be given. Example, L is length of the pipe, is the length of the pipe. U is the velocity, flow velocity in meter per second. G is gravitational constant, that is 9.81 meter per second square. D is pipe diameter in meter. Now, just see HF, the friction, head loss due to friction is proportional to velocity squared. So if velocity is more frictional head loss will be there. The friction factor F is an experimental coefficient which is affected by factors including Reynolds number and reciprocal of velocity squares. So you have to remember this formula. This is the pressure drop. Now if the steam is flowing, if the pressure is high here, the pressure will be lower here. That means there is a drop in pressure because this is due to the head loss due to frictions. Now let us take this example. Determine the pressure difference between 2 points 1 kilometer apart in 50 mm bore horizontal pipe work system. So in this case, the flow rate is 45 meter cube per hour. Now 45 meter cube per hour is the flow rate. So what will be the velocity? As I know, volume flow rate will be velocity into cross sectional area. So if I multiply velocity into cross sectional area, I'll get meter cube per second, which is nothing but volume flow rate. Now diameter is 150 mm. So what is the cross sectional area? Pi d square by 4. So this 4 goes here. 45 is the water volume flow rate, and because it is in hour, so 3600 second. So from which I got velocity. Why? I require U. So what is the frictional head loss? 4F LU square. Now F is given 0.005. L is given 1 kilometer 1000 meter. U is 71 square. So from this I got HF is around 0.34 bar or 3.43 meter. So there is a pressure drop in the pipeline if it is almost 1 kilometer apart. That means in the during audit we find how the steam pipeline is oriented. What is the distance between the user point and the generating point? So can the distance be minimized? If the distance can be minimized, the frictional head loss will be reduced, due to which the enthalpy will get improved and you will get lower condensate. Now, then another example, how to determine the pipe size. Now, this process requires 5000 kg per hour. This is, you see, this is not volume flow, this is mass flow. Dry saturated steam pressure is 7 kg per cm square gauge. flow velocity not to exceed. So flow velocity has to be within 25 meter per second. Now, as an auditor, you have to determine what should be the pipe size. So flow velocity 25 meter per second. Specific volume at 7 kg per cm square. From the steam table, you can find out it will be 2.2 per meter cube per kg. So what is the mass flow rate? 5000 kg per hour, which is if I convert it to 3600 second, I'll get 1.389 kg per second. So from this, I can find out mass flow rate and specific volume. So from this, I'll get the volumetric flow rate, which is nothing but mass into specific volume. So I'll get volumetric flow rate is 0.33 meter cube per second. Now, what is cross-sectional area? All I know, velocity into area is volumetric flow rate. So cross-sectional area is volumetric flow rate by flow velocity, that is pi d square by 4. This is the area, volumetric flow rate. So d will be 4 volumetric flow rate by flow velocity divided by pi. So from this I got d as 130 mm. Now, since steam flow velocity must not exceed 25 meter per second, you don't have a pipe size of 130 mm. We have a nearest commercial available pipe size is 150 mm. So we cannot go for 100 mm pipe size because steam velocity has to be more than 25, should not exceed more than 25 meter per second. So in this case, the pipe size will be 150 millimeter, which needs to be selected. So in this class, we understand what is steam, what is steam phase diagram, how steam is distributed, and how to calculate frictional head loss and steam velocity. And also we understand that how to calculate steam enthalpy, total enthalpy, liquid enthalpy from the steam table as well as from steam phase diagram. With this, I conclude. Good night.